Has your little one been sleeping quite well up to now and you're wondering why they've started to wake more overnight? You wonder what the possible causes could be and how you should deal with it and what you can do to help. Well, today I'm going to be answering your sleep question. How do I know whether my 15-week-old is waking due to genuine hunger? Hi, I'm Jen. I'm Little Ones Village team leader and I'm mother to Heather and to Carrick. Little Ones have helped over 200,000 families across the world, families just like yours with their babies' sleep challenges. We have a comprehensive app which we would love you to take a look at. If you visit www.little-ones.co, you'll find a wealth of information about our app, and our app takes you all the way through from infanthood straight through to toddlerhood, and it covers all the aspects of baby sleep, scheduling, settling and nutrition. If it's your first time here, please do consider subscribing to our channel, and if you hit the little bell button at the top there, you'll be notified whenever we release new videos, and we do this every week. If you have a look at the bottom here, the description box, I will add some links in there as I go along today, because there'll be some things that are related to today's sleep question that we'll cover a bit more in depth within our blogs and through our other videos. Okay, so let's talk about the baby sleep question. How do I know whether my 15-week-old is waking up due to genuine hunger? So an important one is to think about the day that comes before the night, because whatever happens in your little one's day will directly impact their overnight sleep, and their overnight sleep will reflect the day that's come before. It could be really simple, and it's just that your little one has outgrown their nap pattern and scheduling, so they might need a little bit more awake time across the day between their naps. They might need slightly less sleep. So if they were napping well before and sleeping well overnight, but you keep doing the same schedule in the day, it's probably time to change things up a bit there. It could certainly be genuine hunger, because between the ages of 3 and 6 months, your little one will gear up to start solids, and their milk just doesn't sustain them for as long as it has done in the past. What that might mean is that if they were waking up once, they might wake up a second time. If they were waking up twice, they might wake up a third time. That sounds quite reasonable, doesn't it? We'll talk a bit more about how we can gauge whether there is true hunger in a little minute. Another reason for additional wakes overnight is the 4-month regression. So this is a huge development in your little one's sleep. It's possibly the biggest one they will ever go through in their little young lives. What happens is your baby's sleep cycles mature, and without going into this in too much detail, because we can cover that in more detail in our blogs, which I've put the descriptions for below, and also in another video that just covers the 4-month regression, their overnight sleep cycles become too early. So that means where they were sleeping through with maybe just 1 week, they're going to start waking up too early, and often you can see those wakes just after midnight when they come out of their deepest sleep. So if they're waking up too early overnight, where they were only waking up once or twice to feed before, it's unlikely that all of a sudden they need fed too early. That's the end of their sleep cycles that's happening there. So how can we tell if they're genuinely hungry overnight? We'll look at what's happening in the day. So in the same way we would with naps, let's look at their milk. If they're really hungry for their breakfast milk feed at 7 o'clock, or depending on when you start their day, then there's a really good chance that what they're having overnight they need, and that's genuine hunger wakes, because they're still really hungry for their breakfast milk feed. If they're not interested in their breakfast milk feed, that's going to be telling you that they're having a bit too much milk overnight. But like I said before, if they were waking up once and now they're waking up twice, if they were waking up twice and now they're waking up 3 times, they're taking full feeds at each of those wakes and still feeding well at breakfast milk, we're all good there. It might just be a thing that you need to roll with just now until they start solids, and it won't be an immediate improvement overnight when they start solids, because when they do, solids will just be slow and steady incremental increases as they get used to it and adjust to taking solids on board. So sometimes we just need to be a wee bit patient as well. It was good when you only had 1 wake and now you have 2. It was great if you had no wakes and now you have 1. But roll with your little one a little bit. If it looks like it's genuine hunger because they feed well in the morning, then go with it. Okay, so how can we help? What can we do to make sure that we're giving our little ones the best chance at great overnight sleep? Well, let's go back and look at their daytime scheduling. So like I said, they might have outgrown their previous nap pattern and things just need to be changing up a bit. If your little one is undertired going to bed, so they haven't actually built enough sleep pressure across their day to sleep well overnight, they will be wakeful, and quite often they might be awake and stay awake for a long time. It's not necessarily the case that they're hungry, they just can't stay asleep because they're not tired enough to sleep. The converse is also true about them being overtired. If they're not sleeping enough during the day and then they hit bedtime overtired, the cortisol that runs through their body inhibits the release of their sleep hormone melatonin, and that in turn can really, really hinder the quality of their overnight sleep. Take a look at the conditions your little one sleeps in. There are some real easy things you can do to make sure that the bedroom that they're sleeping in or the sleep environment that they're in is the best one. We always harp on about a dark room, and there are a few reasons for that. One of them is because darkness encourages the production of melatonin, and melatonin is that sleep hormone that helps your little one stay asleep. Darkness is also extremely comforting to young children because they have been used to being in a dark room, and it is a completely unstimulating environment. If you have mobiles on or musical things turning or stars shining on the ceiling, when they rouse through sleep cycles overnight, those sorts of things are likely to keep them awake rather than help them stay asleep or get back to sleep. And think about using something like white noise, because if you have a noisy house, you're not going to bed later on, or you have older children, or you have maybe heating like I do that kicks on up the stairs, which can be quite noisy. White noise can be a really good blocker, so nothing will pull your little one out of their sleep noise-wise. Think about your little one's ability to self-settle as well. If the wakes are too early overnight, then this means it's the end of their sleep cycles. And the best way to encourage your little one to be able to go to sleep and stay asleep is to encourage them and guide them to the art of self-settling. Self-settling is very much a learned behaviour, so you would use an age-appropriate method to guide your little ones towards that skill. And once your little one can self-settle, once they can fall asleep themselves, they're far more likely to be able to put themselves back to sleep when they wake overnight, and gradually they will be able to knit together these sleep cycles because they are able to self-settle during the day. It can come a little bit later though, so if your little one can self-settle, there might still be 2 early wakes overnight, but give them the chance to fall asleep, give them the chance to go back to sleep, and in time they'll be able to knit those cycles together just like we do as adults. Just to touch on this regression and the 2 early waking again, if you fed them back to sleep now consistently night after night and you find that they're really not feeding well during the day, you could be in a situation where your little one is reverse cycling. There's more information on that in our blog, and we also have a video on this too, which I have done quite recently. So the links for them are below, and you can have a watch and a read if you think you're in a bit of a pickle with reverse cycling yourself, but you can definitely sort it. Okay, so we have a wee recap then. So the easiest way to judge whether your little one is genuinely hungry overnight is their breakfast milk feed. If it's a great full feed, then it's indicating to you and telling you that they're having what they need overnight. They need the feeds that they're waking for. If you find that the breakfast feed is low, then possibly not, and you might have to start reducing one of their overnight feeds. Check off all the easy things with the sleep environment to make sure that their sleep environment is optimal for sleep. Have a look at their napping schedule and the structure of their sleeps across the day, because these will have a direct impact on the quality of their sleep and whether they can stay asleep overnight too. And last but not least, of course, the key self-settling skill that we talk about quite often, because of all the development that happens between 3 and 6 months, there's a good chance if your little one is waking up too early overnight, this is more to do with the 4-month regression, and they need to be guided towards that all-important self-settling skill. Hopefully I've given you a good idea of what you can do to prevent overnight wakes, what you can do to suss out whether the wakes are genuine hunger or not, and things that you can amend throughout your day to make sure overnight sleep is the best it can be. Thank you so much for listening to me today. It's been a pleasure as always chatting with you. If you've liked the video today, please give it a thumbs up. And like I said at the start, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please consider doing so and hitting the wee bell so that you get notified when videos like these are released. Why don't you tell us about your journey through 3 to 6 months with night wakes in the comments below, because we always love reading them and we respond when we can. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.